Hello, ladies. I hope everybody is doing good and that they have a wonderful Mother's Day. It doesn't matter if you have human kids or fur kids. I know that my fur kids have been driving me nuts. So, hi, Matt Nuts. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Lane. Thank you for being here today. So, this is the sphere after I rough sanded it. I actually used the 60 grit to sand it and do it so it would look all nice and round. And one thing that I can tell you, because I know that there are a few ladies who sent me messages about the modified pedicure wand, and they said that it's not very easy on the hand because it keeps jumping all over the place when I try to do it. And yes, it will jump all over the place if your surface is very uneven and you're using a finishing grit. What does that mean? Hi Mona, hi Adelaide, hi Gayleen. What does that mean? That I've said before, sanding, practically what sanding means is using a lower grit to make the surface even, and then you need to use higher and higher grits to remove the scratches of the previous grit. This is pretty much what sanding is. But when you are trying to even up a surface with a grit that would basically be for finishing, for removing the scratches from the previous grit, it's going to start dancing around. Hi Skywalker. Generally speaking, depending on how uneven the surface is, if I have a decent even surface, I will start with a 400. But if my surface is uneven, the lower the more uneven it is, the more I lower my grit. So this sphere, because it had a lot of irregularities that were quite, in some areas were quite like 1 or 2 millimeters off the rest of the surface, I went as low as 80. And afterwards, of course, I went as high as 120, but there was no reason to go higher than that because this will be covered. Normally, I start with a 400, but again, if it's a little bit rougher, I would use a 240. If it's more rough, I would even start with a 120. I don't usually go lower than that unless it's something that really needs reshaping, which in this case it was almost reshaping because, as I said, there were some areas where there were actual bumps, especially from the little clay strips used to put together the quarters. Now, let's get back to covering it. And I'm going to try and do a fairly easy covering. I thought about using older canes, and you definitely can do older canes, but I thought maybe it's better to just go in a more dedicated pattern. And I chose, because they are such happy colors, I chose the fuchsia because it's a happy color and because it makes such a beautiful pink when mixed with white. And then I have this little flower cane that I don't even think it is a tutorial, but it is very easy to make. Practically, you make a plug, you make first a Skinner blend with just a very thin part of the end with fuchsia. Then you wrap it around, you make a round plug with the fuchsia part outside, and then you take the, let's use this to help with the whole idea. So then you take, this would be the plug, right? The round plug that's white on the inside, and then it is fuchsia on the outside. Or you can use another color. It's entirely up to you. You can use a blue, you can use a green, you can use whatever. So this would be my plug. And again, imagine that the inside is white, and then I have the fuchsia on the outside. And then what I do, I just grab, actually let me grab a dowel, because it's thinner and it's easier to understand. I will grab a dowel and I will kind of press in like this until it gets even. See how it's practically even here. And then I put in the yellow, and once the yellow is in, I just bring the ends up. There's no yellow end, so it's going to kind of close. Just bring the ends up to cover them over the yellow, and I round it up again. And as you can see, there are 6 around a yellow core. So I thought this would do a really nice core for how we are going to start. And because I already have this, I thought, let me make another relatively simple to obtain. The only area where you have to be a little bit more careful is when building the Skinner blend plug, but that makes beautiful designs when it is on the sphere. So for that, it's going to be mostly fuchsia, right? And what I'm going to do is to actually insert some white in here and then add some white here. So let's grab, and I need to do quite a bit of white because fuchsia is a very strong color. So in order to change it, I don't intend to have white stripes. I just intend to have lighter colored fuchsia, more pinkish. But I'm going to insert 2 stripes of white into the fuchsia. So let's say one here and another one here. So there we go. And if I don't use it all, I'll be able to do something else with it. That's not a problem. So here and here. And then I will add some white at the end, as I said. So this will be my combination. And you see, I don't fret, and I told you, unless it's a specific, very complicated design, you never have to fret about what you're going to, how much you're going to do. Ideally, this I intend to do at least 1/4 of it. So see how I have pretty much enough clay to cover 1/4 of my sphere. So this is the whole idea of how much you're using. So let me get it back folded. Then I'm going to get it through the pasta machine, then fan fold it and do some rolls with it. It doesn't have to be a perfect Skinner blend. It can be a dirty Skinner blend. It's going to look beautiful. Okay, so now let's give it a little bit of fanning. And generally when I have to do a lot of passes, okay, there was a ding in my house. Don't know what that was about. When I have to do a lot of passes in the machine, I don't super condition my clay, because if I have it already super conditioned, it's going to get so soft that and this is what I discovered along the way, it's going to get so soft that it's going to be a little hard to keep properly in place while I'm doing the cane. Okay, now I'm all obsessed about what was that thing, because it didn't sound like a phone notification. And I'm going to get it thin enough that it can go through the pasta machine. Always remember at the very end, the clay will have the tendency to go sideways, to sploot. Hi, Darla. Hi, Sonia. So, as always, I first do an actual fold so I can start straight. And then try to keep the line as much as possible. It doesn't really have to be perfect. Again, I reiterate that. Kitties are always up to no good, always. It's not a if or but or anything. They are all little jerks. Mine have been walking over me all night. So, because they have the feeling that I'm some kind of highway. So I went several times through the machine. What are you guys doing there? And now I'm going to go on a thinner setting, just to hasten the mixing. Okay, and once again, I'm folding it, kind of try to keep the lines as much as possible. But in the end, you will want some lines there. That's the whole idea. And the white at the end shouldn't end up white. It should have a tinge of pink. So that is quite important. Again, you don't, you can, of course, you can do a perfectly perfect Skinner blend if you so decide, but for the design that I have in mind, I do not need a perfect, I want a non-perfect Skinner blend. Because reasons. No, mine are like, oh, I think that Connor's spot is better. So Finnegan will just walk all over me to the other side of the bed and start headbutting Connor to make him go away. And then Connor was like, if you move me, I'm gonna go bother Seamus. So tuk 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 again all over me. And then he disturbs Seamus, and then Seamus would be all sleepy like, what's going on? So he's going to go tuk 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 all over me to get towards my feet. And rinse and repeat. So yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, so again, I'm going through the pasta machine on thick, and then I'm going to do another thin one. Colors are starting to blend, which I love. And again, start with a straight. I'm doing this to avoid catching air bubbles, because if there's any bubble here with the folding, it's going to be pushed out by rolling. And now on this time, I'm going to try and, first of all, let me get this a little bit thinner. I'm going to try and narrow it. Now my morning routine is with, I'm on the couch, so I have this computer here, and then I have a laptop in the living room on the coffee table that I use for most of my email and stuff like that. And I would be on the couch working on my laptop trying to do stuff. And then Finnegan comes and flops himself on the side of me on the couch, puts up his irresistible fluffy belly, and starts wailing that he is so unloved and nobody wants to pet him. And if I try to make it like I cannot hear you and I don't care, then he will just get up and then come and grab my hand and pull it to him so I can pet his chest. Hi, Francis. Okay, so now I am doing some narrowing. And I need it to be a little bit pinker than that. I still have a little bit too much white happening, so I'm going to do probably a couple more passes through the machine. So first, let's get it thick enough to go on the thickest setting, and then I'm going to make it again thinner. And it's going to give it kind of like painted look, doing it in this dirty way. And again, as I said, you can choose to do it just a plain, regular, nice and pretty gradient. It's entirely up to you. I just wanted to do this design that I had in mind. For turn the machine back on thick. So as you can see, it's getting much better, much closer to what I'm trying to achieve, and the white on the end is getting pinker. So yeah, don't do that. I just forgot to turn the machine on a thicker setting, back on a thicker setting, but it might mess up your gear if you try to put clay that's too thick directly on a thin setting. Unless you have one of those Lucy clay machines who are like the transformer thing from hell. I don't know. They look very sturdy. Probably they could get away with that. But again, you see I have no white here, so I'm going to kind of get it more on this side. Again, following the lines as good as I can. And I think one more pass and I'm good to go. And for the final plug, I'm not going to roll it. I'm going to fan fold it, just to be sure that I get the lines that I'm aiming for, right? So this will be my final pass. So first on a thick setting, then on a thinner and thinner one. Alright, so this is it. So now comes the folding. And I'm going to go not full, theoretically you're supposed to make the side of the fold as wide as like to form a rectangle. I'm not gonna go that much because I think I can pull it off even with a thinner one, especially because I need to mirror it at one point. So I will have to narrow it a lot, and if it is too wide, if it's not wide enough, it's hard to do it properly. So my width, this is the width that I'm worried about. So in order to increase it, I am going to cut and stack. So this is my first stack, and as you can see I already have an air bubble. So let's cut it and stack it. And now I can go ahead and start narrowing it, because I need to narrow it like this. Hi, Lianka, you're late. Yeah. I've been watching some, I don't know, lately I've been very amused by British comedies and comedians, and one of the ones that I like a lot is, I don't know if you know, Michael McIntyre. I hope I pronounce his name right. Hi, Kimisu. And also, I don't know if you've ever watched Mrs. Brown's Boys, which is, God, that's the most hilarious thing ever, right? At least for me. It's just too hilarious not to mention. So I've been fairly amused this morning while I was doing my chores around the house, and I need to work also on the garden because, as I said, I think I said yesterday, with all the storms that we had, we did have a lot of rain, and now it's getting hot. So today is supposed to be like in the upper 90s, I think. Let me check. Let me make sure that I give you precise information. So yeah, it's no, not upper 90, lower 90s, 94. But right now it's 84 with a heat index of 88. So anyway, because of that, everything in my garden practically exploded. So I'm trying to bring it under control, if at all possible. So now I'm going to start going a little bit in length like this, because as I said, I need to cut and mirror it. But I'm still trying to, oops, goodness gracious, what the heck was there? Oh, I had some little bits and pieces of clay that fell off the so I'm still going to try and narrow it like this, and I lost my camera. Yeah, Benny Hill was funny, still funny. And Mr. Bean most of the time is funny. Still, I don't know, the comic heroes of my childhood and teenagehood and younghood, still, I don't know if it's very known on this side of the Atlantic, but it's Louis de Funès. And it's just, it was before the whole Peter Sellers and the Pink Panther and all that. Okay, I'm going to have to go a little bit even more longer. Also taking care that I don't have a lot of stuff left behind, like in the middle, trying to stay behind. See? But my most favorite right now is Mrs. Brown's Boys. And I actually enjoy a lot of the British shows. I am a Doctor Who fan. I also like the spin-off Torchwood. I wish they would make more episodes of that, but I guess they had that scandal with the main actor, so they don't want to work with him anymore. And okay, and I'm going to mirror it with the white inside. And the next thing is to wrap the whole thing in a very thin sheet of fuchsia. It's okay, Kim. You can watch it afterwards. Okay, so let me grab a piece of fuchsia and it will all be wrapped around, but on a thin setting. Hi, Melissa. Yes, I'm still going. I just started. I'm not still going since yesterday, if that's what you were wondering. I did eat and sleep and work in the garden. Okay, and after I wrap it, very great care, see? Very great care to go outwards on it, on both sides. Flip it over, do the same thing because you don't want to trap air. And now I'm going to slowly turn it into a round one, right? So I showed you before that you can always change the shape of canes. So first I'm pressing here, then I'm going to press it there. I got another. Then I'm going to press on the opposite corners. Until I get good enough. And whatever's extra, I can simply mix it up and get a nice pink that I can use in covering up the sphere. So as usual, I'm going from the middle up towards the ends to make sure that the middle of my cane is also moving. And always never use your fingers because you're gonna leave grooves and mess up the pattern. Always use only the palm of your hand. So let me get rid of the extras here, the wastages. You know what, I didn't watch in a while, and I think I should go on his page and see if he put anything. I don't know if you've ever watched, it's a Facebook and YouTube thing. I don't know if he's got TikTok or not. I have no idea. It's called Little Billy, and it was viral. It went viral like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. He uses, otherwise he's a pretty handsome guy with gorgeous teeth. And he's using one of those filters that make your face like this and make you have a big mouth and fairly big eyes. And he uses the higher pitch filter for the voice. And what he went viral with was trying to unclog a toilet. And in that he used the term splashage. Now, if you've never watched it, let me see if I can find it to give you the link. Is just beyond hilarious. I'll give you the link in the and I realized that I haven't seen, for some reason I didn't get notifications or something, but I hope he didn't stop making videos. I sure hope not. Okay, now the cane that I'm going to make, I'll show you both variants. You can reduce it as a triangle, or you can reduce it as a square, whatever you feel more comfortable with. I personally have absolutely no problem going into a triangle and reducing just triangle even to micro cane. But there are people who are not comfortable with that, or have even more problems than me with pinching and all that. Okay, so here I am at the, and this is about how big I want to go, and this should be about, let's see, this is a 5/8, right? So once again, let me trim the ends, and I'm going to mix this together to get myself a nice pink in my scrap clay bin. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to pinch it, and I'm going to pinch it, okay, this needs one more cut. I'm going to pinch it leaf like, okay? So I'm going to, and actually it's better to first cut it because it's easier. So let's cut it. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Am I good at eyeballing or what? So I'm gonna do 3 pieces of 2 inches each. And I'm cutting it first because if you try to do this kind of pinching that's depending on a spot in the pattern, you might lose the pattern and then you get your lines going like this. So let's see, I'm going to pinch at the tip of the white pink, light pink line. So we're gonna have this. And the same on this one. See how it is a little bit moved? I mean, I have this here and I have this here, so obviously it did turn around a little bit, so I need to, okay, start. And this wouldn't have been noticeable if my whole cane thing would have been too wide. So I have this here, I have this here. It's a very small twist. So again, and there we go. Now let me grab, first of all, I'm going to cut this as well. All right, now, and I know I'm going to need more white. Now, so this is now a little bit over, but actually, you know what, let me make it first and then I'm going to cut it. Yay, Janine, you made it. Yeah, no, I really have a problem with pinching. I really, really do. because I have that osteoarthritis at the base of the thumb, so pinching like this for too long, it's hard for me. That's why you haven't seen me doing canes as often as I used to. There is an actual very good reason behind it. Let me give a wipe to my pasta machine because that fuchsia pigment is strong. So I'm simply wiping a little bit underneath and over my rollers with alcohol and the paper towel. And there we go. Just looking to see how wide to make this one, and I am good again at eyeballing. All right, now let me cut this in two, and I'm going to start with yeah, I told you that it's really good, the diclofenac gel. It's awesome. Okay, so we're gonna start with a diagonal cut. Diagonal cut with the cut on going outwards, and place it at the top of the pinch. What? My corner is here. I know. I cannot give you attention right now. I'm busy. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to consider this my outwards one. So the next one will have to be kind of like from the middle going up. So again, diagonal cut with the diagonal going outwards from the middle up, and cut. And the second layer again, diagonal cut, diagonal upwards at the end of the previous diagonal, which is on the other side. So there we go, and again place it straight like this. It doesn't really matter, but you have to keep in mind that if you message me on Facebook on the Kalyana page, it might take a while. Okay, so we have this right now, right? Now what I'm going to do is to elongate one of the other ones a little bit and elongate it. See how I'm holding it here? And I'm elongated pretty much mostly half of it, but still try with a little bit of pinching and a little bit of turning, kind of like this, but still don't allow it to get wider. And I'm going to use the dowel. And this needs to be a little bit longer. Yeah. But straight longer. Okay, and I'm going to grab a little piece of this, again diagonal, and place it here. Yeah, let's see. So, how's it going? So we go there. I'm not going to place it all the way to the bottom of this, but about halfway. Okay, this is not halfway. Kind of like where the white starts, almost. Pretty much like this. Then let's add a string. You can get the diclofenac, the brand name is Voltaren, but if you get just the plain generic, it works just the same, and it's like half the price of the brand. You can find it. I usually get mine on Amazon, as I don't really go to the pharmacy so much unless I need a booster shot. Okay, now let's place this here. And we can even flatten it a little bit. There we go. And try to bring it down a little bit. So by bringing it down, it's going to need white here. And when I told you don't let it get wider, I'm going to need a little bit of white here. Again, I have a diagonal cut. And let's do another, okay, cut a little bit here. Let's do another diagonal cut to fill more of here. And then just one more on the thinnish side that can go here, just to cover up all this. We can place it here. Now comes the third one, and the third one will be even more distorted than the second one. So again, I'm going to start pinching on both sides at the same time. And not allow it to go wider, because do not want it to go wider. Make sure that it stays the same length. Okay, and to continue again from the middle of the previous one. Hold on, I have a little bit of a non-linear portion here. Okay, from the middle of the previous one, let's give it a little bit of white. Where's my other white? There we are. And one more. I want it to go well in there. And again, one more. And this time, let's give it another little. Yeah, I know you did, but as I said, I don't know if I don't think I can do that. I explained before, I stopped taking commissions when I became disabled because I cannot commit to timelines. And that's why I started the tutorials channel. Alright, so there we are. If I will make any canes, you will see them in the sales, but I don't take commissions per se. I'm sorry. Alright, so we got this now. And we are going to complete a triangle here. Oops, complete a triangle here. Get a little bit so that I can start reducing it. So, as usual, what I'm doing is just adding the clay into oblivion. You know, I still have some here that I need to get back through the machine with. Yeah, and as I said, I do still make some canes whenever I have stuff that's left over. Pretty much I make them with leftover clay, but the stars need to be really aligned for me to be able to work on canes. I mean, no bad weather, no low barometer, stuff like that, so I wouldn't hurt, because I Now I avoid making canes because it hurts. It's... Hi, Judy. Okay, so I am pretty good right now. It's okay if it's going to get a little bit smooshed in the triangle. It's going to get the shape that I actually want, but it's easier to create it more on the I don't know how to explain it otherwise. On the length, like the way that I created it, instead of creating directly the triangle. And now I can go ahead and cut some of the extra white. There we go. Because I don't need all of it. No, we are good. So this will be one of the main canes. For the rest, I'm going to use, I should have named this one the canes for covering the sphere, because obviously we're gonna have a third thing with it. For the rest, what I'm going to have prepared is a lot of plugs like this that you can see. They are just plain Skinner blend, and then done like this, wrapped in black. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, I think that was on, let me make sure. And not bitter butter. No, that was not a public cane. That was a sponsor's cane. The Monarch. So you understand why I cannot do it. Maybe we'll do a quick and easy butterfly tutorial after this. Or if you want, we can postpone another week covering the actual sphere with stuff, and then next Sunday we can do a butterfly that can be reduced to go on the sphere. We can do that too as well. Okay, so now I'm kinda making the triangle more equilateral, but it needs a lot of reducing. Hi, Colleen. You're late. How dare you to be so late? I'm joking, of course I'm joking. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. This. There we go, and let me cut the other end so you can see how it's going to be. And it will almost be like a Natasha thingy. So this is how it's going to be. Let me see if you can see well. So this is how it's going to be, and it's going to be very reduced, but it's not. It has to be practically straight angle here. but the way that it's going to be, it's going to be with this repeated on once like this, and then the next one, creating a band of this. And when it's very, very small made, it's going to be a band around the sphere, and I think it will work really nice against this one. And again, I'll have several of these made into triangles that will make the same type of bands. But yeah, this I need to reduce it a lot, and obviously I'm going to do that off camera, off the live. Remember, these, you need to mix them together, all the remnants, mix them together, all the push outs, and you will get a pink that can be used to cut bands that will, little strips of color that will separate these bands. So yeah, I think that I'll do a very short, I'll make ahead of time that the Skinner blend necessary, and make next Sunday a butterfly one. And I'm going to use, just to keep you updated ahead of time, I'm going to use the same fuchsia and probably mix a little bit of wisteria or blue, I'm not entirely sure yet which of them, and maybe some yellow in the butterfly. And we'll have that way the flower that's going to go on each end, and then we'll have bands of this model and the butterfly and some bands of triangles. And I think that the sphere will look very, very pretty. So I do have a second sphere, because remember that I had to do a double so I can show you how to make the sphere. So I'll have enough to cover 2 spheres, and it's going to be pretty. And by the way, if you ever want to buy one of these, I have to send it to physically go to the post office and send it, so I wouldn't be able to ship it until on a Saturday when my neighbor can take me there. But they have one of those machines, self-serving machines, so I don't worry much about it. Anyway, so next time we're gonna do a butterfly, and I'll explain all the different Skinner blends, and I promise you it will be, I'll make one that will be very pretty, but will be fairly simple to make. Okay, I promise you that. So thank you so much for being here. Hopefully they don't say anything about next Sunday being bad weather, so at least not for now. So let's hope nothing happens. And have a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day, and be happy and stay safe and stay healthy. Okay? And tomorrow I'm starting my new schedule, my new regimen. Wish me luck with that. Okay, thank you so much. See you next Sunday. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.